Easy on Marcus, yeah. Okay, begin chapter 3. Uh-oh. Things are about to get real. I feel it. We follow Marcus into what I can only describe as a control room of sorts. There are countless computer screens, some of which are obviously coming back on from having been shut off. Everything looks extremely complicated, from screens filled with code and data to what is obviously a security system. It reminds me of a miniaturized version of the operations center in just about every space travel movie I've ever seen. Marcus is running from one screen to another, apparently looking for some pertinent bit of information. Where's the first aid kit? I snap at him. Marcus stops in his tracks, as if he'd forgotten the whole reason for bringing us down here. Oh yeah, he says, rushing to the left side of the room. There he hunkers down by an open panel on the wall and what I assume is the emergency vault from where he got the rifle. Let's peer into the open vault. I peer over Marcus's shoulder into the vault that he's opened. It's much larger than it looks from the outside. It's partially filled with file folders marked classified, a few rounds of ammo for the rifle, and a particular plastic kit filled with syringes in a locked black box. Marcus sticks around while the folders slips open. For the split second it's open, I see a scanned document and a color photo. The photo shows a male corpse with its guts on the outside of its body as if it had been turned inside out. There's also a massive swelling on his head, almost like his skull's about to explode. Marcus slaps the folder closed, and then I turn my attention to one of the syringes. It's filled with a violet-colored fluid that, while rather pretty in color, looks deadly. Marcus finally pulls out the first aid kit and turns around. When I look back to motion Dennis over, he's paler than ever. Come on, I tell him. But he's not moving from the place on the floor where he sits against the wall. I slide the first aid kit over to him and go scrambling to his side. Between the struggle with the rifle upstairs and arriving to this room, he's faded fast. I struggle to lift his shirt up and then over his shoulders as the dried blood holds it in place. The mere act causes him to grimace. This might hurt a little, I tell Dennis. He only nods. He doesn't seem to care. Let's do it quick, gently. I decide to pull off Dennis's shirt gently. He lifts the shirt off gently and it makes a sucking sound. There's so much blood that the moisture tries to keep the shirt pulled to him. Dennis lets out a little moan but seems to relax in spite of his injuries. With the shirt fully removed, the extent of his injuries becomes more clear. His wound is more visible now, although it's partially hidden by the blood that has started to clot around it. My medical knowledge is slim, basically just a bunch of basics I learned in Boy Scouts. I looked over to Marcus hopefully and asked, do you have any training? 0, he says, sorry. It's just as well, I guess. He's far too concerned with what's happening on the monitors to be much help anyways. I start by taking out several rolls of gauze within the kit and wipe as much blood as I can away from the wound on his side. It's even worse than I'd figured from the start. The gash is deep and dark. I'm pretty sure it's infected too. He's going to need stitches, that's for sure, but I have no idea how to even start that. Besides, I don't see the tools for it in the kit. When I splash rubbing alcohol over the wound, he responds with a hoarse yelp of surprise but nothing more. His eyes are locked on me and he looks appreciative but also scared. Be honest, Dennis says hopefully. How bad does it look? You'll think I'll live? You'll be fine, no problem. Reassured. Good to know, he says, because I sure don't feel like that. You've been through hell, I say. I think it feels worse than it actually looks. Thanks, that's a relief. I won't lie, you're gonna have a scar. I say, trying to be funny. He chuckles a bit, but there's no humor in it. He rests his head against the wall and closes his eyes as I finish up. Place one layer of gauze against the wound and bind it with medical tape, then reinforce it with a second layer. I know it's meager, but it's all I can do. Thanks, Roger, he says, actually managing to force out a smile. I feel a lot better. I think I'll be fine. I'm not sure about that, but I'm glad I was able to encourage him. I patched up the bruises on my head a bit, cursing myself again for not grabbing my hard hat. Looked at Marcus and he's looking back at us deep in thought. My eye is starting to really swell up from where he kicked me earlier. Maybe I shouldn't have let him off so easy. Are these first aid kits all you have in this facility? I ask him. If there's something better, I don't know about it. He says. I noticed then that his defensive posture is no longer there. Something's different now. Just a slight change to his demeanor. He's seen something on his monitors that has him frightened more than he already was before. What is it? I ask. What's wrong? His eyes travel around the room, and it's obvious he's trying to decide whether or not to tell me the truth. I kind of want to see the monitor. So what the hell's going on here? I ask. I'm not really sure I want to know the answer. His defiant gaze tells me he's not going to be of any help, so I decide to look around for myself. After a few moments, I see a few things that I can comprehend hidden in the complex information on most of the screens. On one screen, I see what looks like a power meter that's slowly climbing upwards. A single message is flashing beneath it. It reads, "Unexpected power failure, foreign entity." Another message trickling down along the bottom of the black screen says, "Safety locks level 3 containment doors engaged. Override." I see still scenes on a few other screens I assume are security cameras showing hallways and passages from somewhere out in the facility. One of them shows the first level hallway we were on a few minutes ago. Another shows a hallway I don't recognize, the floor covered in blood. From just off the screen, I see what I think is a human body, but it's bent in an impossible way. It looks like the body's leg and torso have somehow merged or melted into the floor. What happened to that person there? I have no idea. I didn't see it. Whatever happened to that guy, it must have happened in the last minute or so. What the hell? There's something still happening? Are we still in danger? He turns away, clearly fearing he already has said too much. And as bad as that is, there's a scene in another monitor that makes my blood go cold and my fear spike to level somewhere near terror. The scene's very familiar. It's a logging site. The equipment is unmistakably mine, and I can even see my truck. Something like fury starts to rise up in my guts, momentarily pushing aside the fear. For a moment I consider tearing into him, a few punches and a shove against the wall, nothing more. I want answers and I want them now, but I'm not sure which would provide more answers, asking calmly or kicking his ass. Ask him calmly. He's cooperated so far. Would you please explain to me why you're spying on my crew? My anger is prodding at me and I have to hold it back again. It's near the surface, demanding a release. I think it's that radioactive thing. It was part of my job, mine and a few others. Your crew has been watched over since you set up your equipment. Why? Because you're working with heavy equipment, some of which digs into the ground, less than a mile from a secret government facility. I had no idea of that. How could I have known? Marcus gives me the same crooked, trembling smile that is beginning to creep me out. Because those things would draw attention to this place, he says. You have no idea how secretive this facility is. Besides, I know that the higher-ups looked into it. Your site isn't on government land. It's shy about 300 yards. Every piece of your equipment is on private property. The timber tract you purchased from Mr. Gladstone 2 months ago. So even if we wanted to intervene and keep your crew away, we couldn't have done so without stirring up a fuss. The fact that someone with such a low-level clearance knows this much about my logging crew is unnerving. If you've been watching us, why don't you recognize us when we met in the hallway? I ask. He shakes his head and exhales, like it's obvious. Cameras have a bird's-eye view. I can't see faces. We just track bodies and names. Ask calmly. So, since you have all this surveillance, do you know where the rest of my crew is? Do my best to keep my voice level, even though my impulse is to shout. Well, Marcus says, all of you were on site as usual before the incident. It had been a few hours since I had checked in, though. They might have come near the facility, or they might have come near the facility. They may be not. I don't know, he says as casually, like it's not important. Well, are they inside the facility, I ask? You have cameras everywhere, right? Do you see them? Marcus shakes his head. I've been looking all over. I haven't seen your crew. They aren't here. But, he adds, the lower levels don't have any cameras. Classified. I'm not sure how they would have gotten there, but it's a possibility. I'm still shocked that we were being watched. Do you know everything about us? Oh, that's not in quotes. Whoops. No, they messed up. Oh well. I'm telling you, Marcus said, the depth of influence in the facility goes deep. There are 36 employees down here. Outside of those employees, only 5 other people know this place exists. Okay. I feel like we need to keep our anger down, because the game wants me to turn angry, and I feel like that's a bad thing. What do all these people do here? I ask, keeping my voice level. He doesn't even pause to consider if he should go any further. He actually laughs when he gives me the answer. I honestly don't know everything. Probably very little. But what I do know is that it is more than Black Ops. What does that mean? I ask. There are scientists here who have been disowned by their own governments because of the nature of their work. You get it now? I don't, not at all. But I don't want him to know about that. He said there are 36 employees, I say. Where are they now? He shakes his head. As far as I know, everyone else is gone. Gone where? He points to the screen that still informs us of the unexpected power failure and cringes. If this power failure was not corrected in time, there's no telling. But they're here in the facility somewhere, right? I ask, hoping someone will be able to help Dennis better than I can. I just don't know, Marcus says. They could be anywhere. Look, I say, furious with the way he's talking in riddles. I don't. Ah, God, Dennis says. I look over at him and he looks as pale as a ghost. He stood up and his eyes are locked on the monitor closest to him. What? I ask. He simply points to the monitor then looks away. Look at the monitor to see the logging site. But more specifically, I see the overturned dozer and the legs sticking out from under it, wearing work boots right where I left him. Tony, the fact of his death seems abstract almost, like it happened in some other world or a very long time ago. I know you already told me he was gone, but it's different actually seeing him. My God. Suddenly something blazes by the open door outside. The shape is fastened in shadow, but I'm pretty sure it's a person. Someone else is here, Marcus says, wheeling around. He sounds very happy to discover this, so I try to follow his lead. If something bad happened in this facility, then surely the sight of another survivor is a good thing, right? We should check it out, he says. I realize this isn't the best moment to leave Dennis after revisiting Tony's death all over again. Someone just ran by the door, I tell him. Hopefully it's someone who can help us. You going to be okay? It's fine, go see who it is, he says, giving me a mock thumbs up. Turn to Marcus and motion for us to head out to investigate. Let's be careful, Marcus says. Depending on who it is, they may not be as hesitant to shoot at a stranger as I was. I nod at him and I head for the door. I'm still holding the rifle in my hand and I don't know if I have the guts to actually use it if needed. With a final look back to Dennis, I run out into the hallway, or the second level hallway. Crap. It should be almost finished. Marcus follows, but there's still fear in his eyes, but also the slightest glimmer of hope. That hope is contagious. We'll take off after the figure that just ran past the command center. Ahead of us, the facility presents yet another long hallway. Right away, I noticed that this level of the facility seems darker, even though the lights are all now on. The hallway is adorned with numbered yellow doorways and large white panels along the walls. It's clean and well maintained, but there's something ominous about it. Up ahead, I see the fleeted motion of something dark cutting quickly to the left, down a corridor. There, I say quietly, pointing up ahead. Marcus gives a nod and we continue chasing after the person we saw blaze by the command center just moments ago. Then it occurs to me that this person could be like Marcus was at first, armed and scared. Move towards them slowly. We reach the intersection of the hall where it seems shadow moving. I ease around the corner just in case. Sure, I have a rifle in my hands, but I don't want to use it unless I have to. I quickly dart around the corner and take the same shooting stance I've seen countless times on TV. There's a woman standing there about 10 feet away. She has reddish blonde hair and a small mousy build. She looks terrified and is visibly shaking. She's probably in her late 30s, wearing a lab coat with dark jeans and gray Converse slow tops. I have a strange sense that her fear is not just about her sudden appearance. She looks like a woman who's been running scared for a while now. Her hands are raised in surrender. She's not holding a weapon. Marcus slowly approaches, taking a few steps ahead of me. It's Amy, right? He asks. She blinks, seemingly surprised that he knows her name. Yes, she says, and you're Marcus. She nods absently and then looks to my rifle. I'm not going to use it. Now how do I know that? She asks. You're trespassing on government property in the midst of a huge catastrophic event, and you have a rifle. How am I supposed to believe you? I have a friend back in the command center who needs medical attention, and we're looking for the rest of our crew. I'm really sorry, but I don't know where they are, she asks. Or she says. Do you know what's happened? Marcus asks, from the powder outage. I don't know what caused it, she says, but there was an experiment taking place when the outage occurred. Something happened, and she trails off here, giving me a look of distrust. I saw things in the security monitors. Marcus says. The experiment failed, didn't it? Don't know any of the specifics, Amy says. I barely escaped the 3rd floor. I was going to go to the command center to see if the security footage showed anything, but then I saw you and the gun. Listening to the conversation, I'm feeling totally in the dark. What experiments? Amy looks to me, her eyes wide and terrified. Who are you anyway, she asks. I quickly give her my story, a logger stranded in the woods following a particular explosion at a logging site. As I tell her, recognition blooms in her eyes. You're one of the loggers. Yes. She then looks to Marcus and says, I thought they were being watched. They were. This is a freak accident. There's no proof that they were responsible. But I feel myself wanting to submit to all the questions that are piling up in my head, but Dennis is waiting for me. Let's find Dennis medical help. I decided that despite my curiosity, I need to help Dennis as soon as humanly possible. Speaking of heart. Look, is there any medical help to be had here or not? I ask. Probably, Amy says, but you'd have to find Colonel Barksdale. He knows where all of those sorts of supplies are. And where is he? Where's everyone else? I ask. At this, Amy starts to weep. She falls to her knees as if somebody had struck her from behind. Gone, she says. Some were killed, some were just, I don't know. They disappeared right in front of me. Disappeared. Yes, she answers. They were gone. They were here one second and gone the next. Just. She snaps her fingers together for effect. Gone. Something's here with us, Amy says. We were conducting an experiment and all went horribly wrong. Something came through. They're messing with going through dimensional portals, I'm assuming. Something came through. Came through what? Marcus asks. I don't even know that much. An entity, but whatever it is, it's still here somewhere. Amy responds. How could you not know? Don't you have full security access? I ask. No, I have access to almost everything, but there are 2 levels of security beyond my clearance. So what do you suggest we do now? I ask. I'm not sure, she says, swiping her tears away, but if you want to find your crew, we need to find Barksdale. He's in charge. Where is he? Down on the 3rd level in the hangar. Then let's go, I say. It's not that easy, Amy says, again looking into the rifle in my hands. Why not? Like I said, something came through and the power went out. There's several of them, all roaming the 3rd level. What came through? All I know is the others refer to them as entities. Amy shudders as she recalls the horrors she has seen. I don't even know how to describe them. I didn't get a good look, she says. All I did was run for my life. Behind me, I just heard screams. I know it's not very scientific of me, but it didn't feel like sticking around to learn more. She's right, Marcus says, stopping in my train of thought. The things I saw on the monitors, it was crazy. This is insane. I'm going to the 3rd level to find this Barksdale guy. Thanks for your help. Wait, Marcus said, I'm sticking with you. If we want to get out of here, we have to find Barksdale, right? Yes, Amy says, but Barksdale's on the 3rd floor and it's too dangerous to go back there. I figure I'll let them make their own decisions. In the meantime, I start heading back to the command center to get Dennis. Before I get there, I hear their footfalls behind me, getting closer. I give Amy a questioning look and she quickly looks away, clearly torn. Neither one of you know your way around here, she says. Looking for Barksdale on your own would be suicide. Like it or not, she has a point. Fine, I say. Then let's get Dennis from the command center and head down together. Good, we have a crew now. Alright, Dennis, you better be alive, you motherfucker. Don't leave me with these 2 people. We enter the command center. I'm happy to see that Dennis has regained some of his color. We're going to get you some help, I tell him. And we're going to find our crew and get the hell out of here. More help would be great, he says. With the way you look, an hour to get my with the way you took an hour to get my shirt off earlier, I'm not letting you touch me again. Wait, maybe one of us should stay here with them. I'll be okay, Dennis says. He stands to his feet with a grunt. You don't know what's out there, Amy says. I saw them. I saw what they can do. This facility's not safe. What can they do? Never mind, she says. Come on, we just have to be careful. Marcus looks a little hesitant, but he nods in agreement. He nods his agreement, and the 4 of us exit the command center, heading back to the hallway. I look back to the monitors. With a final look at the screen, it shows my wrecked logging site, and I feel a pang of sorrow. Then I took to the other monitors, showing live feeds of the facility's security cameras. I tried to tell myself that I'm not looking for any sign of Amy's creatures, but I can't. That's exactly what I'm doing. There's no need to pretend otherwise. We head back through the hall and towards the elevator. The tension exists between us like it's a physical presence. It's gonna end here probably. We step inside the elevator and those pristine doors close. Inside the elevator, Amy seems to become much more guarded and distant from us. I want to assure her that I mean her no harm, but I'm also not going to put the rifle down. So you have pretty high clearance in this place, huh? I ask her. That's right. So what kind of experiment are we talking about? What went wrong? When she starts to answer my question, I can tell that it's something of a relief for her to get some of it off her chest. There's been a lot of work on a project taking place here over the last 3 years or so. The purpose is to find out as if there any real viable science behind point-to-point instantiation, like teleporting. Oh my god, Marcus says, I had no idea. I knew there's some weird stuff here, but nothing this insane. It's really not all that insane. We found our first major breakthrough about 9 months ago. We were able to transport a live rat from its cage on level 3 to a small lab in New Mexico. The trip took that rat 5 seconds. Are you kidding me? Dennis says. I can tell that he wants to sound as if he's mocking the idea, but he fails. He's scared. Not at all, Amy says. The problem was that when the rat arrived, its retinas were detached and its intestines were on the outside of its body. Did you ever perfect it? About 6 months ago, we successfully made the same experiment. The rat arrived in great health, and this time in just 3 seconds. Still, one of the things we needed to tweak in order to make the process completely safe was how to figure out how to keep the subject on a straight course. When the matter is being transported, not only are its atoms being unknit and then put back together upon arrival, it's deconstructed, translated through space. It's the only way we know how to do it right now. But the issue, as I said, comes in keeping the deconstructed subject on a straight course to its destination. When the process occurs, we're deforming space-time. We are creating a shortcut through space, and that has risks. Why exactly? Because there are many more dimensions in space than the 3 we exist on, she explains. There's some evidence that there are many as 10. So when you send a rat to New Mexico, it's traveling through another dimension to get there, I ask. Basically, and because of that, we're trying to get to a better understanding of what those other dimensions are capable of. What did I say, dude? What did I say? Things that have a great deal of the population would be scared of if they knew what we were doing. Hence all the privacy. Then today the power went out as we were right in the middle of an experiment. Something happened. What? I don't know. She's speaking with the authority of someone who knows what she's talking about. What have you seen in these dimensions? Other worlds, other Tegmark universes where our laws of nature don't apply, she says, not bothering to explain what that means. I know what that means. I'm not cleared for such things, but I do get the reports. What reports? Marcus asks. I'm given access to the results of the tests. In other words, Marcus replies, clearly upset, you guys have been peeking into other dimensions and taking notes on what you see. I can't believe I wasted my life for this, he murmurs to himself. He looks like he's starting to freak out. Amy's quiet. Her expression indicates that she's waiting to see how I react to all this. That's incredible. You're impressed. I'm not gonna tell her that she's insane right there. So this is like interdimensional stuff, I ask. In a way, Amy answers. Marcus, on the other hand, is incredulous. I don't want anything to do with this, he says. All this time I've been working for her. He laughs cruelly at the sound of it, and the sound of it makes my blood go cold for a moment. Just a single level beneath my feet, you assholes have been tearing apart space and time. Marcus continues. When the elevator doors open, I can't get out fast enough. The tension is growing way too thick for my liking. Outside of the elevator, we step out onto what appears to be a massive industrial area. The car is waiting for us unlike anything I've ever seen in the upper levels. Or anything I'd seen in the upper levels. You could have just said ever seen. Oh my god. The area looks industrial, like everything was built for utility only. But more noticeable than that is all the blood. My god, I've never seen so much blood. These creatures must have had a field day. Holy shit, Marcus says. It looks like a man that just awoke from a very bad dream. There were more personnel in this area than when the experiment went haywire, Amy says, as if the explanation makes it all better. The research you all do down here had better be worth it, I say. I have to get moving or we're going to lose our nerve. We have to get moving or else we're going to lose our nerve. Army, let's focus. Barksdale is in the hangar, I ask. If he's still alive, yes, that's where he'll be. Then let's hurry, I say. As far as I can tell, Dennis is doing much better, but I'm beginning to grow tired of trying to keep my fear at bay. Between the blood on the floor and the silence of level 3 and Amy's talk with the lab rats, I'm getting freaked out. I'll go first. 4 of us start walking ahead with me in the lead. We stop walking when we come to the remains of what looks like 3 different people. It's hard to tell how many bodies there were because they've all been torn to shreds and are distorted. 2 of the bodies look as if they've been fused together. Another man looks to have had his leg wielded to the floor, through the floor. I can see this man's face. He died in an abject state of terror, his mouth pried open in an eternal scream. Should we investigate? I don't really know if that's a good idea. I see half a face pushed down into the floor like putty, barely attached to a separated skull. Good God. A single dead eye stares at me. I think I might puke. Behind me, Marcus does just that. And as I listen to him heaving, my eyes cannot leave the carnage. There's blood everywhere. Crimson pool flooding the floor. There are hunks of skin and tissue splattered on the wall and a strand of unspooled intestine that clings to the floor like a dead snake. Dennis steps up beside me when he speaks. His voice is soft and flat. What in the hell could do that to someone, he asks. The things I saw, Amy answers. They could do that pretty easily, I think. She looks pale and I think that she may pass out at any moment. Tears spill from her eyes and she's visibly shaking. But she shoulders on, looking back to me, stepping to the side of the gruesome carnage. Her eyes again go to my rifle and she doesn't look very hopeful. You good to go, she asks me. We need to move on, but for some reason I can't take my eyes off the scene. My mind had been reeling trying to process it all. Should I look more? I don't think this is... yeah, let's go. We leave the grisly sight behind, moving into another equally destroyed area. From what I can tell, the next room was once an open area for experimentation. The place hasn't just been destroyed, it has been physically altered in a way that makes no sense. The girders looks to have been warped, their very materials distorted and twisted. To my right, the machine had been catapulted and looks to have somehow merged with the wall rather than crashing into it. Beyond these phenomena, there is the standard violence I was expecting to see. There's a limp arm sticking out from underneath the wreckage and more blood. I see no signs of an explosion, which makes me wonder just how this happened. Seeing the aftermath is sickening enough, but it makes me wonder if Amy saw it while it was happening. See what happened to those girders. I only caught a glimpse of it. It was like trying to focus your eye on something that was too close. It just started twisting, but not creaking or breaking. It's like these creatures are able to deform matter. She pauses here, and that's when we hear something echo through the facility. It comes from behind us and slightly to the right, but I'm not sure what it is. But it makes my blood feel like ice. It sounds almost like static from AM radio, but there's a high-pitched noise beneath it I can't even start to fathom. What in the hell is that? I ask, instantly clapping my hands to my ears. One of them, Amy says, her voice a whisper, one of the creatures. That's what they sound like? I see that he's leaning against the wall again, wincing at the noise. I suddenly realize I have a death grip on the rifle, ready to shoot out the next thing I see. Anything between us and them? Not really, she says. None of the hallways are blocked off by secure doors. Everyone seems to take this as the cue to start moving again. We make our way around the office wreckage, and now with new purpose in our step. We barely make it to the other side of the room, approaching a dark hallway. Then another high-pitched noise sounds out. This one's louder and closer. We all share a terrified look, and I can tell Amy's on the verge of losing it. I grip the rifle tightly as we head towards the hallway in front of us. Okay. Can you kill these things? I don't know, Amy says. Dennis speaks up, his voice like thin ice. Or like ice. Then let's haul ass, huh? No one says anything after that, but I can feel the presence of terror around us, pressing in on us like some new violent gravity. This is a long episode. I'm running out of time. We're gonna be cutting the loaf. The small utility hallway is well lit. It looks as if it was designed to only be used by select maintenance workers. What goes on in this area, I ask. I'm looking at Marcus as I ask the question, but he only shrugs in response. She might know, he replies, pointing to Amy. I've never been down here before. It's just a utility hallway, Amy says, but at the end there's a maintenance room. There should be a gun or two in there. It's also the most direct path to the hangar entrance. As we walk quickly and quietly down the hall, I take a glimpse ahead, feel the hair on my back and my neck stand on end. The lights become more sparsely spaced, and it's impossible to see just how far the hall extends into the darkness. This hallway has the occasional trace of bloodshed, but nothing like the main area we came from. We continue further down, and just as I begin to see what looks like a large metal door further ahead, I hear yet another shrill sound. This one sounds farther away, but no less demonic. How many of these things did you see? Dennis asked Amy. 3, but that's just what I saw. There could be more. What do they look like? I don't even know how to explain them, she says. Monsters, that's the only word I can think of. My mind seemed to struggle just trying to understand what I was seeing. They're big and they seem to jerk around with every few feet or so. They look like they're made of light. That's all I know for sure. You know, my ex-husband always said I'd let my word kill me, she continues, seemingly unable to stop herself. I mean, I doubt he imagined this exact scenario, but still. As we make our way to the hangar doors, another high-pitched noise rings out, angrier now. Amy stops walking, causing all of us to stop and turn to her. We have to do something to slow those things down, she says. No, Marcus snaps. There's no time. We need to distance ourselves and get to the hangar fast. Amy ignores him, deep in thought. There's an old hydraulic door set into the wall right here, she says. It hasn't been used for years, though. She looks to me, pleading her case. Together, we may be able to pull it closed behind us to keep those things back. Those old hydraulic doors weigh a ton, Marcus says. There's no way it'll work. Roger, Amy says. What do you think? They'll have a harder time getting to us if these doors are locked. Look, we need to get to the hangar now. Let's stop and close the doors first. Damn it, Marcus says. We don't have time for this. Amy ignores him and starts feeling along the hallway wall for a groove. Dennis and I start looking as well. A minute passes and I see a small metal frame that runs from the door ceiling. Is that it? I ask. Yes, Amy says. I look at the floor and see an old metal track that runs along the frame. Let's move it, I say. Amy and Dennis and I start pulling as hard as we can, but it barely budges an inch. Behind us, that static noise rings out again. My heart seems to stutter, and Marcus lets out a wild little whine. Running out of time, we need to go, Marcus screams. Those things are getting closer every second. Help us, Marcus. It won't make a difference, he says. We shut up and help us, and then we'll find out. I say. I shout. Reluctantly, Marcus walks over and grasps the door. We all groan as we strain to pull. It starts inching slowly and then starts moving steadily. Once we get it started, it slides easily. And as we near the wall, closing out the hallway behind us, I think I can see the nearest glimpse of an odd illuminated shape in the darkness. It's cut off by the slight thump of the hydraulic door being pushed against the frame in the opposite wall. Amy turns the lock into place. Great. Now let's haul ass, says Marcus. We all turn and get moving again, still feeling unsure about our prospects. The fact that yet another shrill noise sounds out elsewhere in the facility is not calming. And then there are 2 of them. It's almost like they're calling out to one another. The doors to the hangar sit up ahead, like the entrance to some enormous labyrinth. Oh great, this is still going on. When we reach the hangar doors, I get a true sense of how impenetrable they are. A computer terminal is mounted on the wall nearby and has a blinking red light. Any idea what this means, I ask. It's an automatic lock, a fail-safe from the lockdown, says Amy. Never been down here before, Marcus says, but if I had known this door was here, I would have opened it earlier. How? Amy asks. The fear in her voice is more present than ever. From the command center. He says, you need to override it from there first, then use this terminal to open the hangar doors. The command center on the second floor, I ask? Yeah. Amy shakes her head and lets out a nervous laugh. Are you kidding? We just pulled that hydraulic door and blocked off the hallway, remember? If we want to get into the hangar, we have to get back to the command center. He says, isn't there another way? Turning to Marcus, Amy replies, well, there is another elevator, but we'll need to go through biochem storage. I need to stay with Dennis so he can rest, I say. You two go. You know where you're on the place, but you know the control. And you know the controls, Marcus. Fine, but we'll need to be armed. I give Amy the gun. She's gonna need it. I hand Amy the rifle. She starts to go. Marcus gives me a concerned look but follows along behind her. Once Amy and Marcus make it a good distance on the hallway, Dennis lets out a nervous laugh. And then there were two, he says. Dennis looks much better, but he still needs to use the wall to stay standing. Didn't Amy say that there were guns and emergency kits in the maintenance room near the hangar doors, I ask? Yeah, I think so. I look ahead and see a door to the right that reads maintenance. Might as well give it a try. I go and try to open it. I find that it's locked. Push with your shoulder. Kick it down might make a lot of noise. Give it a hard shove, but it doesn't budge. I'm about to try again, but that's when I hear a gunshot from just down the hallway. My first thought it was Amy and Marcus had coming upon one of those things, one of the monsters. Nope. I didn't hear any of the strange static sound I've come to associate with them. Alarm bells go off in my head before I know it. I'm heading back down the hallway away from the hangar doors. Stay here, I'll be right back, I whisper over my shoulder to Dennis. See if you can figure out how to get into that maintenance room. Where are you going? I don't bother answering him as I bound through the door to where Amy and Marcus went. Oh my god, somebody died. Marcus killed her, probably. This is not okay. As I enter the biochem room, I start walking between the massive silos and wonder what classified chemicals could be inside of them. I am fully expecting to see one of Amy's creatures come flying out from the intersection of halls up ahead. I think I overhear a voice, a woman's voice. It's Amy. Stop, let go of the gun. I run ahead so fast I almost trip over the two people in a life or death struggle. My mind tries to process what I'm seeing, but it makes no sense, none at all. Marcus is wrestling with Amy, trying to take her gun away. When this doesn't work, he throws her to the ground and starts choking her. Her face is turning purple, eyes look like they might pop out of her head. Marcus sees me coming out of the hallway, but acts as if what he's doing is perfectly normal. Stop him. I start rushing towards him before I really know what I'm doing. I bring my fist down so in a hard arc across the bridge of his nose, and I'm rewarded with a sick cracking sound. He cries out as he falls to the ground, looking at me as if he doesn't understand why I punched him. On the floor, Amy clutches at her neck and grasps for breath. I start to fear that I was a moment too late, just as I see the rifle has been thrown across the floor. Marcus seems to notice this at the exact same moment I do. I deliver a surprisingly strong blow with my right hand, chipping his chin from my awkward position. I'm in the process of planting a knee in his chest to hold him down when his left foot comes out of nowhere, landing hard. The kick catches me squarely in my ribs, knocking the breath out of me. What the hell are you doing? He yells at me. By killing her, I'm saving us, all of us. This was her fault. I sense that he truly believes this, but if that's the case, then why not just attack her when we're all together? The answer's simple. We might have stopped him. He wanted to kill her in private. And then what? Would he have done the same to Dennis and me? It seems fitting, really. When we first came upon Marcus, he'd held a gun on us. I'd been so relieved to see another human being that I had underestimated just how unhinged he was. Marcus and I both dive for the rifle, still laying on the floor, and start wrestling for possession, but I'm not confident I'll come away with it. As we struggle, he starts inching the muzzle of the gun towards my face, a position I do not want to be in. I start pushing back hard, but if this thing accidentally fires, I'm not sure where I'd prefer the bullet to go, especially in this room full of chemical tanks. Force it towards Marcus. If he dies, oh fucking well. I grunt as I push the muzzle towards his face. Realizing he's literally looking down the barrel of a gun, Marcus ducks his head out of the way. This makes him lose leverage, allowing me to yank the gun from his grip. I get to my feet as quickly as I can, swinging the rifle around on him. For a moment I think I've knocked him out, but his eyes flutter and he looks at me as if I betrayed him. Her people, he says. It was them that did this. She deserves to die. She did this. I looked to Amy and I wish I could help her. I'm relieved to see she's managed to draw in a few breaths. Her legs move as she tries to push herself into a sitting position. You wouldn't know, Marcus says. You didn't work here under the secrecy. You don't know what it was like to. He surprises me by lunging towards me, leaping from the floor like a human projectile. I don't have time to aim carefully. I have to react fast. Oh my goodness. Do I shoot him? I'll dodge. His aim is poor and his strength is failing, so I dodge him easily. I don't want to have a gunshot go off and alert those creatures to where we are. I make a hard jab of the butt of the rifle, striking him in the chest. Something crunches and he lets out a whoosh of air. Crumples for a minute and then goes to his knees. He roars in pain on the floor. Only after a few moments I realize they are not purely screams of pain. The bastard's calling for them. No! This place is evil along with everyone involved, he wails from the floor. If you are taking your side, then you deserve to die too. If you want to stop me, you better do it now, you coward. The rage in his eyes at Amy, as well as for me for stopping him, makes me think that he'll deliver on his threat. I raise the rifle again, every urge in my body wanting to make sure he doesn't come back to bite us. But I'm not a violent man. I could easily not kill him and just leave him behind. Oh my god, this guy's gonna screw us over. I'm gonna let him live and die to the stupid creatures. Just like when I could barely shoot earlier as he was coming at me, I can't bring myself to deliver a kill shot. I ignore him and lean down to Amy. You okay? I ask. She nods slowly. Have to go, she says, her voice raspy. They'll be here any minute. Too much noise. I have to hold her arm so she can't get to her feet. We start forward, and then I think of Dennis. We should go back to the hangar doors. I can't just leave Dennis there. There's no time. You need to come with me to the command center now. We'll be back for him soon. We're all dead now anyways, Marcus shrieks. If they don't get you, I will. Oh god. If I see you again, Marcus, you're dead. I'm sorry. I've given you too many chances. As if in response, a high-pitched noise tears through the hallway. I seem to feel it in my bones. They're following his noise now. Her voice still weak. She takes off away from Marcus, presumably towards the other elevator she had mentioned moments ago. I follow her. As we move out, I hear Marcus slowly push himself off the ground and stumble off, slipping in between the tanks and disappearing. We start running, and after the first few strides, another noise sounds out. It sounds mechanical, but at the same time, it also reminds me of the recordings I heard of whale songs. The sound of metallic cracking and crashing echoes to the door I came through. They've reached the hydraulic door we pulled, Amy says, confirming that what I'm thinking. The sound grows louder as it's clear they're struggling with it, which is good. We have a bit more time. I speed up my step to follow Amy as she leads the way to the other elevator. She's panting furiously but pushes on. I can hear something rattling in her breath, likely the result of Marcus's attack. This makes me imagine how this cold, uncaring eyes must have looked, staring down at her as he tried to deliver her to death. How she's still forging on is beyond me. I'm sorry about Marcus, I say. It's not your fault, she interrupts. At least you handed me the gun. I just hope we can find a way to survive this mess. We'll be fine. Don't worry. I'm not so sure, she says, her eyes fixed straight ahead. I'm not sure I can blame her. I had just wanted to say something encouraging, I guess. We finally came to the elevator at the end of the row of silos. The elevator doors slide open slowly. At that moment, we hear something behind us, a strangled sort of whistling sound. We step inside and turn around to face the biochem room. Thankful we'd be given a few moments to spare. The elevator doors remain open for 3 seconds before they start to slide closed again. In those 3 seconds, I see a large shape floating towards us. A phosphorescent-like glow outlines an impossible shape. Behind it, I see another shape that's also entered the biochem room, and another. The third one breaks away from the other two, taking a quick right, moves with eerie speed. That is the direction of Marcus had gone. Honestly, the thought of them hunting him down doesn't bother me in the slightest. Amy is pressing the button to close the elevator doors over and over, but they stay open for what seems like an eternity. I curse whoever designed these damn doors. Hide inside the elevator. Let's hide. Amy and I slide ourselves up against the side of the elevator, trying to avoid being seen. But I can't help peeking around the corner. I held the rifle steady, ready to fire, and that's when I seen them in a clear light for the first time. I can see their features, their shape, their colors, but my mind can't quite process it all. Nothing about them makes any sense. My eyes try to see a squid, but that's not what these things are. They are gray and white and seem to be nothing more than squirming light. Their appendages are neither legs nor tentacles, but somewhere in between. They don't walk on those appendages, but they use them to glide. They move like ghosts and seem to jerk away every few feet or so. I'm pretty sure that this jerking effect is not a result of their moving, but my mind's inability to understand how they're moving exactly. It's also more of their appearance that makes a mockery of reality. The light around them seems to bend inward, as if the space within the room has to reshape itself for their existence. That particular effect on the air makes their movement seem like something moving underwater, only faster. They screech in unison as they rush towards the elevator. They'll be inside here in another few seconds. I check the rifle to see my ammo is diminishing. I have to start saving my shots. I'm going to have to be choosy. Don't shoot. Save the ammo. They keep advancing even though I know the doors may not close in time. I manage to keep my cool and avoid firing off any more rounds. My finger itches to pull the trigger, but I resist. I'm not even sure if a gun would affect them. Finally, the elevator door closes. The creatures wash against the other side of the door, making an electrical noise and crying out in anger. The tips of their spider-like appendages poke through the wall and elevator door, but for some reason they can't get all the way through. Amy screams at this and curls into a ball in the far corner of the elevator, crying. I say nothing to her. I just cling to the rifle, hoping these creatures don't find Dennis as he waits in the hangar doors where I left them. For his sake and ours, we need to get them open now. Alright, end of chapter 3. I'm actually going to stop here. Leave a like down below. So, see you guys in the next episode, whatever that happens to be, and keep it real.